I entered prep school when I was 17. I remember vividly my 18th birthday. We went to the range. I think that was the first time I ever shot a an M4. Like I shot first time I ever shot a gun was on my 18th birthday. That was kind of funny. It's a good birthday present. But went into West Point. I think I was also 18, so that year. So I was a freshman in 2007. I think I graduated in 2011. On the lacrosse side, like on the athletic side, I went to prep school, so didn't make the team. Essentially, you would go to prep school. Freshman year, didn't make the team. Played JV, which was always weird for me because where I'm from, Long Island is a hotbed for lacrosse, and all of my high school friends that I had since to part with, like I was still kind of connected a little bit. Um, they were like, "Oh, I'm gonna come watch you play." Like the Army was playing Duke, I think, on Long Island. I was like, "Yeah, like I played lacrosse at West Point, but I'm out, actually like not on the team." So it was like a weird place to be in that like couple of, like that year for me. Then I eventually made the team as a sophomore and really didn't do like I was living my dream the entire time. Like I was playing lacrosse, I wore the uniform, and it was awesome for me. But I really didn't step on the field until like my senior year. I think it's actually harder to not be a standout and really just get crushed every day, but keep coming back day after day after day with really no hope of ever playing. We called it the dog pound, which was like all of the like the white team. So we had like the black team and the white team. The black team was like the starters, and the white team was pretty much everybody else. And it was like this whole subculture. It's like every scout team. I was kind of pissed, like going through it. Like, why am I not playing? I'm performing. I'm doing all this other stuff. As I reflect back on that time, you really learn like if you serve your role, like you serve a higher purpose. And I look at this a lot actually. My junior year, we beat Syracuse they were two-time defending national champions. I didn't step on the field at all during that game. But the lead up to that, I think that year we had one of like the best scout teams. Like we were really talented. Like we had a lot of depth on our team. They said it was the biggest upset in college lacrosse history because we were like last into the tournament and Syracuse was going for their third national championship. And looking back at the perspective I have now, like every member of a team is just as important, even if you're not the starter, in a way that is like unglorious and not glamorized at all. That if you're not pushing the starters to get better, or you're not chomping at the bit to get on the field to make sure that everybody is like the sharpest that they can possibly be, it's kind of like what's it saying? Like iron sharpens iron or metal sharpens metal. And I learned that a lot, and that mentality of like team first mentality has helped me a lot as I've grown as like a business leader and in real estate and building teams and stuff. I know, really don't think there was at that time somebody who had. I don't think there'd been somebody that cared about playing Army lacrosse for as long as I have and that wanted it more than me. And I say it like almost like half jokingly. I was like, I know that if I played during then, I was like, we would have won a national championship. I was like, there's nobody that wanted that more than me. But you go through it, it's like it doesn't really matter, like whether I played or not. Like it's all like I was living my dream and nobody else could take that away from me. The perspective I have now is it's more of if other people don't see the value in you, that's not a negative reflection on you. That's a negative, not even a negative reflection, but it's a reflection on their others' inability to see potential. So I look at the lens that I look through now is like if I'm going to hire somebody or if I'm looking to work with somebody or mentors or just even my own self and like you know just seeing the world through a much different lens than I used to when I was younger is like there's a lot of value in that and like looking for the potential of like a younger Corey that like had all the intangibles and they want it more versus like a highly touted like blue chip person. Like I will bet on the underdog every time. If I can sense that they really want it and they're driven by something else, I've really found that there's a another level of like performance and ability and grit and tenacity that comes with like that avatar of a person, and it's not always your best. It's like the Michael Jordan story. Like they say he got cut JV and then he turned out to be this like superstar. Like Brady was looked over. They thought he was a scrub. They thought it was like scrawny and stuff. It's like I think that great performance comes from being doubted sometimes. It's all perspective too, but That's it. It really, those years of playing lacrosse and like my early couple years in the army, they were extremely formative in my mindset. My, like, I always go back to the grit side, is like the grit and tenacity and just like refusing to quit when shit gets hard, and it inevitably will, like always. I think they're both necessary. I think perseverance wins every day. They are both necessary. You still have a certain level of performance, whether it's in real estate, business, on the athletic field, whatever profession you choose to go into. You still need to perform. You still need to become like a professional in whatever craft it is. I look at it through the lens of like, on the lacrosse side, it's like, yeah, I was never an All American or anything, but also zoom out, is like very few people, forget lacrosse, forget the sport itself, but very few people have ever competed in Division 1 lacrosse ever, or a Division 1 sport. Like, that's still like the top of the top. Learning lessons in the military is, there's a lot. I mean, trust your gut. I didn't learn that lesson very early on, but I kind of formulated it as I progressed. There's been very few times, if I look back at like decisions I made or like situations or scenarios or whatever, most of the time, like the overwhelming, honestly 85, 90% plus, my gut, like your initial gut instinct is most likely right. If you feel like something is off, or you feel like something should be done a different way, like, I would encourage, anybody younger, especially like younger service members, like young lieutenants, officers, NCOs, whoever, trust your initial instinct. It's right most of the time. And lean into that and be confident about it. I was very insecure of myself because you go into the military, West Point's one experience, but it really doesn't, like, nothing really prepares you for the military, or for that experience, a job, whatever it is. You're really not prepared. Like school, this is a little bit deeper stuff, but like the curriculum doesn't really prepare you for what you're embarking on. It's the on the job training. It's like when you get there and you start reading and getting into your manuals, and like you start learning from NCOs or other officers or soldiers or whoever. Um, and that crosses over really well to business also. It's like, I look at myself like I can learn from anybody. Like, I can learn from the most junior person on the team all the way up to, higher level C-suite leadership, investors, whoever. Like, I really, it helped me a lot because the brand new privates straight out of AIT, I was learning stuff from. Like, they were way smarter than me on a lot of stuff, and I took that lens of like, I can learn from everybody. And still, it's weird because like technically I was, as an officer, like, you're a leader, you're kind of making the decisions. It's a really, you're kind of on like a razor's edge of like not really being the subject matter expert, but you're relying on other people to do their jobs and advise you properly for you to make the correct decisions. And that, while it doesn't correlate directly to business ownership, but it really sets a really good foundation. I say this a lot, is like, whatever level you served in the military as, you were at least responsible for one or two other people. Like, it's pretty, I mean, you spend 2 or 3 years in the military, 4-year contract or whatever, you're pretty much guaranteed to have led somebody else in one way or another. Like, everybody gets that small level leadership experience, and leaning into that, like not knowing everything, but still managing to like move forward and like, chase after the mission or whatever it is that you're doing, is it's a very uncomfortable place to be. But as you gain technical expertise and just confidence in yourself as a person, it gets better. I graduated at 22, so I say like I accomplished literally every goal that I'd ever set for myself as a kid, um, at the age of 22.
Which was?
Graduate, like just graduate West Point and commission. That was it. That's all I ever. I talk a lot about this, like manifestation, law of attraction, all the kind of universal stuff that I really picked up and I started leaning into and learning more as I developed as into like a investor, entrepreneur, whatever you want to call it. I didn't realize that I was living that from the get go. And it was because I became obsessed with that one thing that I just latched onto, that I felt a calling to do. It was tough, man. So around year, like probably right when I got up to Columbus, so let's say like 2019, 2020, maybe a little bit prior to that, I started learning about real estate. I started learning about entrepreneurship. I had no idea like there was another world. I only knew that wake up, go to PT, go to, go through the duty day, go to sleep, go home, eat whatever, and then come back, do it the next day, get weekends off. Like I knew nothing. I knew nothing about investing. I mean, looking back, it's like sickening not having the knowledge I have now with what, I could have built in the past, but I just didn't know. Like I didn't have any, nobody was kind of like laying it out for me. I was like, I don't know. But that transition of, I was like, I don't really like the Army as much as I did when I was younger, and I'm tired, and like things are starting to not like work the way they used to when I was like a younger athlete. I was like, I got older and late 20s into your 30s. People joke about like the Army ages you like prematurely by like 15 years. It's like it sucks, but I was like, I want to preserve my body. I want to do something else. I feel like there's a calling. I feel like there's something else out there. So I started paying attention to real estate. I started reading books. I started listening to podcasts, and I came to like this conclusion that like we kind of do everything in today's society, in our modern life. We kind of do everything revolving around money. It's like we make our decisions based off of money. We take jobs based off of money. What's the starting salary is always like the $1 million question. That's the first question anybody asks. It's not like, well, what do I get to do? Like, what do I get to learn? Like, what, it's always starting salary. So as I became like more realistic with that, I was like, well, why don't I just figure out money and just solve the money problem so I have enough for me to live? And I was like, if I can get to that level of like financial security, I can kind of go do whatever it is that I want. It's unique. Like I fell into a unique scenario because when I was a kid, the only thing I ever loved other than the military and the Army was being outside. As dumb as it sounds, I liked doing yard work. Like I always liked mowing the lawn. I always liked tinkering with stuff. I liked building things. And that kind of ironically like manifested is real estate. Like you're always fixing shit, you're always doing something, and I just enjoyed doing that. So I leaned heavy into that. Started learning about how to buy properties, how to run a property like a business, understanding the VA loan, buying real estate, starting businesses, and then like all the other boring stuff on like the legal and tax side. And I really just started, I was like, if I can solve my money problem, I feel like I should buy real estate based off of what all these smart people are telling me to do and start a company. So I ended up doing that, and I just kind of grew where I was planted, tried my best, and had some hiccups along the way, lost some money, made some money, and then eventually like worked my way out of the military. And it was primarily during COVID, and when it really like when all that stuff like kind of COVID was a wild time. I mean, I think most people understand that. For me, it happened to be great because I was in the Army. I had a good paycheck, and I was working from home and just teaching from my computer, so that allowed me to learn. I mean, I put myself on like a very strict regimen of like wake up, work for a couple hours, knock out some stuff, figure out which properties to buy, do research. Like I was just obsessed with it. Once I kind of had that like fundamental shift of I don't need my paycheck anymore, because I built something on the side and I learned and I educated myself and I built a system and a machine external to my paycheck. Then I started on a whole different journey, but then I realized like I can kind of do whatever I want in this life. And that fundamentally changed, like I said, that fundamentally changed the way I see the world. And I started realizing that other people, not necessarily envious of, what I had, but I felt that there were other people out there that were not living their authentic self. They were not doing the shit that they wanted to be doing. They were not really happy, honestly, and they weren't doing something that was purpose driven. And I looked around and I was like, I think there's a need for this to start educating people on how I was able to build the thing that I built monetarily and provide for myself. I joke about this, like I think in the bottom 1% of my class at school I had a 2.2 GPA. Tests, like I didn't do great in college. After that, everything else, comprehension wise, business is it's like arithmetic. It's like basic algebra. Like the number side of business is not hard. It's really not very complicated stuff. It's actually pretty easy. In practice, like going through it and like doing the things that are necessary that are required to get you to the next level, it's not easy. It's actually pretty hard, but it's simple. You just have to go through the process. And the biggest thing that I found was it's not so much the knowledge and the education, it's the mental capacity to overcome the fear and doubt that everybody has when they first get started. The knowledge is easy. The books are easy, and especially now, like I did all that stuff before AI and like before all this tech came out in the last couple of years. And it's really not, if I say this endearingly, like if I can figure this stuff out, like I think most people can. I see it as like there's a saying in the military where if you like you never ask your soldiers or the people that are like your subordinates to do anything that you wouldn't do yourself. I can confidently say I've done everything. I've read a lot of books. I've networked. I've taken risk. I've made money. I've lost money. Like everything that I talk about to my core, I have done, and I have the confidence to say that like it's not like if I can do this, I feel like a lot of people can. There's nothing there's nothing superpower about me. I'm not a giga brain. I'm not this brilliant savant educationally or like, you know, mentally. I was like, I'm a pretty average person. Like what you see is what you get. Like I'm pretty average in a lot of ways. But after reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, that's like the gateway drug into entrepreneurship and financial freedom. I did like a complete 180 of how I originally thought about money. I started understanding what, you know, fractional reserve banking is, understanding how debt works, understanding how taxes work, leverage. And I started learning about all these different things. And I was like, okay, so all of the big entrepreneurs, like the people that are really creating and the movers and the shakers, and a lot of the people that just have a lot of money and they built wealth and everything, I was like, they pretty much do two things. They seemingly all buy some form of real estate, and they all own businesses in one way or another. They invest in businesses, or they're you know owner, you know, operator types. And I was like, they look like they're the ones that are actually understanding this the best, and they're like executing on building wealth for themselves. And I was like, okay, cool. So if I wanted to buy real estate as a service member, I didn't really have a ton of money, you know, especially saved up. So then I was like, oh, like what's this VA loan thing? And then I leaned more into that. I started learning about it. I was like, oh my God. Like according to all these guys, the VA loan is like a super, like it's just a tool really, but it's a very big tool. So I really just started investing in real estate with the VA loan. That was, you know, number one. And then in addition to that, I was like, I don't think I need to build a tech company. I don't think I need to build a billion-dollar company. I was like, I need a financial engine that makes me money outside of my job. So I'll have leverage and cash flow on the real estate side through house hacking the VA loan. And then I started Early Riser Stays, which was my short-term rental company, where we would manage properties on Airbnb and out some of the properties that I owned also we'd self-manage. And I did that for a couple years. And that worked moderately well. I got absolutely smoked during COVID. Probably lost like 25 grand off the bat. That was really not very comfortable. That kind of sucked. But after kind of COVID wound down, I started that back up again. And that was really how I exited the military. Was I had built equity in properties. I had cash flow from renting those couple of properties. And it was a mix of conventional purchase and VA loan house hacking. And then I had Early Riser Stays, which was, for me, I think that was bringing in like 45, 50 grand a year back to me. So I was like, I have pretty much replicated my salary through actively participating in this business and also cash flowing the rental property. So it was pretty much a mix of just I started a side hustle and I invested in real estate, and that was it. I knew that after reading a lot of these books, I knew the most important thing was I don't need to build Early Riser Stays and sell it for $1 million or whatever. I was like, I know that I just need to start in some form of business and start learning Like I look at everything through the lens of learning. That is like quintessential to everything I talk about. It's like everything is an opportunity to learn. Mentors, people will solve your problems faster than anything else. Like if you want to go to if you want to fix your car's engine, you can try and tinker with it. You can read books, you can watch YouTube videos, or you can go to the mechanic and be like, "Hey, you're a specialty in this field. Can you fix my engine? Maybe I have to pay for it, but like maybe you just find somebody that like wants to help you." And like, yeah, sure, I'll show you how to fix this. Um, and the engine gets fixed, right? Like you got to find the right people that have the right knowledge at the right time to kind of help you get to where you want to go.
Yeah, I'm Steve Flaherty, founder CEO at Nicotech, as well as the entrepreneur in residence at Ohio Wesleyan University. So yeah, I in 2018 I helped bring a national organization called 1 Million Cups to Columbus. It's caffeinated, as we say, by the Kauffman Foundation, which is one of the leading organizations in entrepreneurial research and entrepreneurship endowment. I exited that in my role. You know, we went through COVID. We turned it into a digital platform, and then we had a team that was running it, and the team kind of picked it up after COVID. And so I was the original organizer, community lead person, and passed that on to a team. And I was building Nicotech, and so I was traveling a lot. And so every time that I was in town, I tried to go out to 1 Million Cups. And I happened to go to one of the meetings. I hadn't been in a while, and Corey was the presenter at 1 Million Cups. And so the community lead, George Zarepsky, is like, "Oh, Corey, you got to meet my dude Steve," and vice versa to me. And so I went over after Corey was done presenting Early Riser Stays, and we chatted, and we kind of hit it off. And then I said, well, you're welcome up, to Ohio Wesleyan anytime, which is where our company's headquartered. And he's like, "How about tomorrow?" And I'm like, "Tomorrow works. I like action." So he came up, and we went out to lunch at the campus dining hall. And I mentioned that I was going out to Las Vegas for an event that was going to have a bunch of speakers at. And I was like, "Dude, like, I mean, I just met you, and I don't know, hopefully you're not a serial killer or anything, but I have a spare room in a suite in Vegas that it's completely lock off, so we can if we hate each other, we can each go our own separate ways and still be okay. But if you can get your way out there, get a plane ticket, you're welcome to join me, and we can get an extra ticket to the event, and you can go spend some time and learning from a bunch of other people." And so he did, and he got on a plane ticket, and come to find later, and he can touch on this, it was like some of the last dollars that he had like available, like cash flow. Like he's like, "You don't know how hard that plane ticket like was to secure at that moment in time." But that's those risks. That's those things that, I mean, you just jump, and you take that opportunity. And I wasn't, I mean, it was no real skin off my back to offer a free room in Vegas. I mean, that would be a couple $100 expense in its own, but I mean, it was fine. Like it was off, like, "Hey, this isn't going to be utilized. You leverage that, and then get your own way there, and like, let's make something of it." And it's turned out to be quite an adventure and journey, and we've been on several trips since, and now own a couple businesses together.
I knew the most important thing. I don't need to make a dollar. I just need to learn. I need to spend 5-10 years learning. Like, I'm obviously going to be able to feed myself. Like, you got to do like the food, water, shelter thing. Pretty much everything I have, and I look at everything through the lens of, "Oh, I'm learning. Like, this sucks. Like, I lost some money, whatever." I was like, but I learned how to not lose money in the future. And that one like mental frame of like, all right, I'm going to go to this thing. And I had been at the conference that we went to. I was like, I've been looking at that for a while. I was like, "Oh, I've heard about this thing. Like, I think there's going to be some really incredible speakers out there and all this other stuff." And I meet Steve. We talked Think and Grow Rich. We talked business, and I was like, "Holy shit, this guy knows like a ton of stuff. He like has the information that I'm seeking." I listened. Steve tells me to do something, or I'm like, "Oh, like go take action like immediately." Like, speed and tenacity is what has really helped me to propel myself in the last couple of years from like just kind of getting started understanding stuff to like really starting to understand stuff and move like bigger pieces versus just like, a couple single families, like larger stuff. Like I've sought out expert knowledge and I've tried to create value for other people and I really didn't have much to offer when you first start out is like, but I think people, when you go seek mentorship, that is probably one of the most important things that you can do as a service member. Like chase free knowledge. The currency of people that have knowledge and built legacy and have built wealth and everything else, the currency is they want to see somebody that they emulate, like they see themselves in that person, and they want to see that their life had meaning and value, and that what they've done has impact. And if they see that in somebody else, like if you go talk to somebody, and I say this like little scenarios, like if somebody that you see is like wealthy or successful or whatever it is for you, and you're like, I like that person, like I want to be like that person. If they tell you to like read a book or like go like, oh, you should do this, immediately go do that thing. And then hopefully the next time you see them, you can say like, oh, hey, I did this thing that you told me to do, and this is what happened. Like I don't know what to do here. I was like, but this was really cool. Like I promise you that you'll forge that relationship near instantaneously because they want to see that their knowledge transfer is effective, are doing the things. Like they don't want to, the people at the next level where you need to be to get that information, they want to see that you are going to take immediate action and you're going to listen. And I think the one thing that has cultivated relationships like this and everything else is like, shut your mouth and listen. It's okay to not understand and not completely like I can't tell you how many times Steve has been like, yeah, like this. And I was like, oh, like shit, now I get it. I see it now. You have to go through life at 110%. Like you got to go as fast. Like speed is your best friend, and learn, put into action. Learn, put into action. If you do that and you're seeking out knowledge and mentorship, I promise you those people are going to find you. That is the true key to wealth building, is knowledge and information. It's not the dollars and cents. The dollars and cents come long time down the line, but wealth is knowledge and education. That's truly what it is. ChatGPT, it is a massive tool. Like there, especially in the last couple months, like when I got started, this was not very long ago either, like last 5 or 6 years, that didn't exist. So I was pretty much, all my learning was people, Audible on like 2x speed, and YouTube. And that was plenty to get me started. AI and ChatGPT, I mean, there's a million tools out there for you to use, but if you are not integrating that into your daily life, almost hourly, like it can get you so much farther, so much faster. I don't want to say I'm speaking for both. I was like, we have these conversations like, yeah. If you are young, in college, new service member, whatever, you need to be paying attention to this and understanding what it is and how to use it. I give this analogy. It's like your risk starts very high when you know nothing, and your knowledge base is very low. And all you have to do is increase your knowledge, and by increasing your knowledge, you decrease your risk. Risk never goes to zero, and knowledge is never infinite. So you're kind of just like suppressing risk, and you're increasing your knowledge. That is the fastest way to learn. And that is the fastest way to take idea and build the plan or learn the thing and then immediately put it into action. If you can harness that and put it and use speed and tenacity, that is the best way that I can tell you immediately to grow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, AI is definitely the tool of now and the future. Boils down to human progression and human perseverance. Right, so that is the tool. That is a tool that everybody possesses. That you have your own work ethic, and so I always people around me, you always hear me say, action equals traction, and progress over perfection. So what AI really does is allows you to have that tool, to have that action step to take in a more meaningful, more impactful way. The old when growing up, you'd say, like, your teachers would tell you, you're never going to be able to have a calculator in your pocket. Well, now you got an entire artificial brain in your pocket, and so it's going to evolve and touch every single piece of business in the world. Millennials are using it as life coaches. We need guardrails on it at a world and a federal level. for certain things, but at the same time, if you're not utilizing it and taking advantage of it while it's quote cheap and while it's free, I think you're at a disadvantage for the significant rest of your future. So I think nuclear is, it got a bad rap for some human errors. You immediately think of meltdowns, and you think of Homer Simpson, and eating donuts over a circuit board and dripping icing on the circuit board, and the whole plant blowing up and everything. I think nuclear technology has evolved in a meaningful way. I mean, we use it to power our subs, reactors that people don't even know exist. One's down on Ohio State's campus. People don't even know that. There's things that have evolved over the past 3 decades, really, in nuclear power that I think it has to be a part of not only the world solution, but the U.S.'s solution to energy. I've always been the kid that looked at the world, whether it goes back to Cub Scouts or something, leave the world a better place than you found it. I remember, back as a child, we got these bins, and they had the recycling triangle on it. And I'm out there educating my dad, and he's throwing stuff in a bin that, I'm like, Dad, it says that you can't put that in there. And that was when we had to single stream, and so we had to sort the paper, and the plastic was separate, and the aluminum went over in this one. And so I never really thought about that as an inspiration for business or anything. But I think the core mission was always there. Hey, how can we be better than we were yesterday? And so I've always defined sustainability in that way. So how can we be better than we were yesterday without negatively impacting tomorrow? I don't care what side of the fence you fall in politically. I think that's something that everybody can agree with. And so I've never done it from a tree hugging perspective or save the cows or anything like that. It's always just been, let's be better than we were yesterday without negatively impacting tomorrow. I found a technology. I didn't create it. It was something that was out there that was the roads, the infrastructure that everyone uses daily, with more sustainable materials. The concept was simple. You make a better glue that's more sustainable, that performs equal or better to the current infrastructure out there. That's a sustained solution. With roads aren't going anywhere. I mean, there's not many roads that get decommissioned. It's more that the 2-lane road you grew up on is now a 3-lane or a 5-lane. So we have to be responsible with our infrastructure, regardless of whether we get to drones and eVTOLs and flying all around. We still have to come down and land, and then transport ourselves back to homes and businesses, etc. So it's always going to be a part of the equation, but let's make sure that we're doing that efficiently and sustainably, not just environmentally, but economically sustainable.
I was really not very sure of what I wanted. I knew what I wanted to do, but I was very unsure of myself. I was never the cool kid. I was never, and I think a lot of that on the confidence building side hit me a lot, and it really took me a lot to grow and develop, and through learning. And Hormozi talks about this. He's like, your confidence and your abilities are documented proof of hey, I am all of this. I've already overcome these obstacles, and I am this thing. But I would say to really trust myself more as I grew up. I would also say pay more attention to your future. From physical, I just treated my body it was abusive in the Army. I was not getting the right amount of sleep. I was, pushing myself probably way harder than I should have.
And so, if I was going back and teaching my younger self anything, it would be establishing those core values earlier. So one, be and stay humble. I found myself in a lot of rooms that I didn't feel like I belonged. And so you tend to show your credentials at the door and try to show your rationale of why you're in the room, which then comes across as arrogant and cocky, and never was that the intent, but that's the result. And so just leading with humility, understanding that you're in a situation that you put yourself in, and whatever that is, good or bad, the result is from your actions to get there. So but stay humble and be humble. Lead with gratitude. So that's one of the I think the best things. Be grateful for the journey, be grateful for how you got there, and then be grateful for the opportunity ahead. Never compromise on your values and your morals. even short term, like little quick things that, you know, bend bend outside of your whatever you set your core values as, it can come back to haunt you in a minute. I've watched people build amazing lives over decades that get destroyed in 5 minutes or less. And the court of public opinion, one, I don't really care what the public opinion is, as long as my bearings were what I set out to do, and my moral compass was there. I'm not worried about how I'm judged, in public view, as long as I can bounce it back to a moral and value decision for whatever decision I made. And I've been, in elected offices, and realized quickly that 50% of the people hate you, 40% of the people tolerate you, and 10%, might somewhat like you. That's about it. And I'd say overall 90%, that 50 to 40, don't even know who you are. I think we had a lot of hard conversations up front, in the sense of, like, I've been through partnerships that haven't worked out, and I've been burned. And I'm the son of a lawyer, and so I grew up with risk tolerance being very low. Hearing all the bad war stories of the world, and how, business, pick your partner more scrutiny than you pick your spouse, because it's easier to get a divorce than it is to get out of business and everything. So, before we went into business together, and just that dynamic, it's having those hard conversations before money enters the equation. Like, when money enters the equation, the world gets a lot tougher. Money is only a magnifier and multiplier of someone's true personality. So if you are good, money is only going to amplify you and show the world how good you are. If you're a bad person, or a conniving, or a threatful person, toxic, whatever, money's only going to bring that out and show it. So having those conversations early before money enters the equation is important. But being transparent and talking not just about business, but about life values. What do you want to get? What does 80-year-old you look like? I don't know where it came from, but for whatever reason, ever since, the earliest memory I have is around 10 or 12 of myself sitting on a porch, not too much different than this, my God, on a rocking chair, overlooking with a spouse, undefined, and kids and grandkids out playing in a pond. And I have forever thought about, what does that man care about? We have those types of conversations of life values, morals, what do we want? What's the mission? What's ROI, return of impact? Once you've got alignment there, it makes the business stuff a lot easier. Don't lose sense of humility and humor. Like, I mean, life's too short and too,
it's not that deep.
Like, the pressures of the world will want to throw every global impact at you. And the more that you just focus on what you can control, and say, okay, I've got now new information, and how does that impact my decision making? That's a lot easier to live in than worrying about everything that you have no possible influence or control on.
When I first met Steve, I was like, oh, this guy could probably teach me a lot of stuff. I learned something new. Everything is exciting for me. Like, I'm always learning new stuff. We really, I think, started to complement each other in that I structured my life, built by design, to become financially free and low capital intensive. I'm not very expensive, and I don't require a lot. And I knew that if I had time freedom, I could go, like, even from when we first met, like, boom, go to this networking convention out in Vegas. Like, we've done 2 or 3 of these other ones. I need you to go talk to this guy. Look, boom, done. Like, my time freedom has been an amplifier of Steve's brain and experience. It takes a very, very long time to build that trust up, to build that, like, consistency and quickness of response and communication, and, like, your vision is aligned, and everything that you just said, like goals, the way you see the world, like what you want to, the 80-year-old version of yourself, like that stuff takes a lot of time. It's been a really good kind of 1-2 punch for us, like getting started in business acquisition. I mean, real estate development, like in a lot of different things. I'm grateful for really everything. Even like when I go to sleep at night, if I'm in a dry bed, like I've slept out in the mud, like it shit sucked. I was like, but you see the world through a completely different lens, and you realize like it really isn't life should be enjoyed, and it's really truly is not that deep, um, and you should spend it doing the stuff that you want to do. But I think my standard of living has really magnified the way I view the world in business also, because it's like if you don't let lifestyle creep get in, and you can stay humble and hungry the entire time, I think that that served me personally well. And then as we've grown into a business partnership, like building all this stuff it's really been, if you stay humble and you stay hungry, like it serves you really well.
So, I mean, it goes back to, kind of the core values and the humility and, not being too proud of yourself and recognizing that you don't have and you don't have to have all the answers. And that's okay. And the more you're true with yourself of your own strengths and weaknesses, the better you can enter a business partnership, or work with someone else. Because if you feel that you have to, or you try to do all things, I've never met a perfect entrepreneur that is an expert in every single thing that you need to be, of all the the quote 9 pillars of business that you need to be successful. So the faster that you can understand your strengths, where you play well, and then where you can work well with someone, I think that's the ultimate message. And then I would say, keeping it fun. I mean, we have a clause in our operating agreement that's called the Mario Kart clause, and I can't take credit for it. It was someone, a lawyer that I talked to, talked about doing it, with one of his clients, and I was like, dude, that's perfect. And so if we have a disagreement, I mean, we both have equal voting rights, which can be a stalemate in a company that you're trying to proceed. And so it's one, like learn to work together. So, but if shit hits the fan, it's literally decided over playing Mario Kart and best 2 of 3. And so it's like, how can you not have fun, with it when you're playing Mario Kart? Are you really going to be that mad about the decision if you don't get your way? If you lose, to Wario or, Luigi in Mario Kart? Probably not. But it just brings the humane nature back to business. At the end of the day, we're humans trying to be better humans that are trying to earn our way through life so that we can not, I don't have a pile of money that I want to go capture. I want money as a tool for the experience that I can have with myself and my family and friends. That's all it is, right? And so, and as long as I'm adding the correct amount of value to the world to get that money, I'm content.
That's good stuff, actually. That's really good. When I went to Ranger School, one of the guys who had gone before me and graduated and everything, he's like, "You want to know the key?" He's like, "It's not really that hard." He's like, "Just be a good dude and carry heavy shit." It is very much like, be a good person and work hard. It's not like you want to outshine the other person, but like you want to make sure that you are constantly carrying your portion of the load and then some, and your partner is going to do the same thing. Your ability to be like, it's not that serious. And when you truly, I think one of the things that really works the best is if you have two individuals that stand alone and they're very solid on their own. Look at it through the lens of like, I'm happy with everything that I have, and if I had to fall back on anything, I'd come back to this little nest egg that I built, right? And I'm happy to, I love camp. We feel that I've been given a really, even through friendships like Steve and I, and other mentors and stuff, I've been given a unique lens into business and success and all this other stuff, and I feel morally obligated. I think we both do. We feel morally obligated to share our experiences with other people that just need that little bit of knowledge and expertise. It's been a very slow burn. Don't rush into stuff. They say like slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Like be deliberate about your actions, but you don't have to move that fast. Like it build it up over time. It takes time to really become accustomed with like another person, especially if you're going to go into a business relationship. We've been probably uncomfortably overt about like everything. We put it all out there in the open. We had the tough conversations early on, and we really just like, it just clicked. And business should be, it shouldn't all be like doom and gloom. It's not like this like evil thing. It's like, it should be fun. Like it's a magnification of who you are as a person.
I always would tell my students, I have been given more olive branches, reach outs, connections, advice, personal introductions, whatever it may be, than I can count And there was no possible way at that moment in time that I could have exchanged anything for the value that was given. So like an introduction that completely, changed the course of my company or something. And there's like, you can't put a monetary value. I wouldn't be in a position to pay, for that advice, connection, networking thing, whatever, at that time. And I think that's what's unique about entrepreneurship. And there's this rule of reciprocity that gets created with entrepreneurs, that they all have that olive branch. They have all been given that opportunity, that life transforming um, event or thing, and they have no possible way. So the only way for them to cover their bases and pay back, the only equal value thing that they can offer, is doing the same for someone else.
I can't pay Steve back ever monetarily for that. I mean, he's helped me to accomplish my goals and move myself forward. It's like you can't like thank somebody enough. Like you thank somebody by taking action and doing good with the information. And that's really the law of reciprocity is 100% a real thing. Like who, Steve says this all the time. It's like who pours into who. Like people pour into somebody and that person pours into another person and so on and so forth. And that's important. Like you have that like north star of value and what you believe is right. And like we don't know, like we don't know if what we're doing is good. Like we talk about this a lot. Is like in 100 years from now we'll look like idiots. Like these guys, like look at us in like the early 1900s. Like those people were so primitive, right? Like, but they were. I say this like they're trying. We're trying to do. You try to do good, and you do your best, and you just put your best foot forward, and know that the whole time you're probably gonna it's gonna suck, and you're probably gonna mess things up, but like that ability to just keep moving forward and continue to try despite come what may, um, and continue to do your best. That's kind of it.